Fantasy Football Week 6, Unlocking the Waiver Wire's Potential. The ultimate guide to Week 6 matchups. In the world of fantasy football, Week 6 is a crucial juncture where strategy meets opportunity. Let's dive into the waiver wire, uncovering the hidden gems that could be the difference makers in your upcoming matchups. Last week's heroes, this week's targets. Several players from last week's waiver wire column emerged as key contributors, including Sam Darnold, who ranked among the top quarterbacks. Rico Dowdle's performance as the second-best running back was a standout, and tight ends Theo Johnson and Darren Waller also shone brightly. Waiver wire wonders for Week 6. With only Minnesota and Houston on a bye, we still have a host of injuries to navigate. Omarion Hampton's ankle injury has placed him on injured reserve, leaving a potential tandem of Kimani Vidal and Hassan Haskins. A situation that could be intriguing yet unpredictable. Running backs to watch. Kenneth Gainwell tops the list of running backs to add, but keep an eye on Michael Carter's availability. Other notable additions include Kendre Miller, Tyrone Tracy Jr., and Tyjae Spears, each bringing their unique skills to the field. Wide receiver additions. Kendrick Bourne takes the spotlight at wide receiver, especially if Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings remain sidelined in San Francisco. Other receivers to consider are Trey Tucker, Rashid Shaheed, and Jalen Coker, who is set to make his 2025 debut in Week 6. Quarterback recommendations. Sam Darnold leads the quarterback charge for Week 6, but don't overlook Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones, who could step in for Brock Purdy. Mason Taylor, A.J. Barner, Theo Johnson, and Jake Tonjes, fresh from strong Week 5 performances, are the tight ends to watch. Navigating injuries and bye weeks. As injuries and bye weeks wreak havoc on rosters, the waiver wire steps up as a reliable ally. It's a challenging time, but with the right moves, you can keep your team competitive. Editor's note, focus on the underrated for this waiver wire column. We spotlight players rostered in less than 65% of CBS Sports leagues, ensuring you get the inside track on hidden talents. Week 6 waiver wire breakdown. Quarterbacks on bye. C.J. Stroud, Carson Wentz, J.J. McCarthy. Injuries. Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow, J.J. McCarthy. C.J. Stroud. Playing well leading up to his Week 6 bye. Stroud has back-to-back games with 22.4 plus fantasy points. With a challenging schedule post-bye, could he be the low-end number? Fantasy quarterback we've been waiting for? Geno Smith. With 2 disappointing games, Smith's future is uncertain. Fantasy managers in 1 quarterback leagues should consider dropping him, but Superflex and 2 quarterback leagues might want to hold on to him for now. Sam Darnold. After a breakout game in Week 5, Darnold is a borderline number 1 quarterback heading into Week 6. His increased volume makes him a reliable option. Tua Tagovailoa. Tagovailoa's performance without Tyreek Hill was impressive, combining for 433 yards and 5 touchdowns in his last 2 games. He's a trustworthy low-end starter in all 1 quarterback leagues. Mac Jones. With Brock Purdy's injury, Jones could start again. He's a must-start in Superflex and 2 quarterback formats, especially with a favorable matchup against the Buccaneers. Tight ends, Mason Taylor, A.J. Barner, Theo Johnson, and Jake Tonjes are all coming off strong Week 5 performances and are worth adding to your roster. Running backs, Kenneth Gainwell, the top running back to add this week. Gainwell could be a starter if Aaron Jones remains out. Rico Dowdle, a monster performance against the Dolphins has Dowdle on many radars. He's a must-start if Chuba Hubbard is out. Bajal Tutin, even as a handcuff for Travis Etienne, Tutin is worth rostering. Michael Carter, trustworthy as a low-end number 2 running back against the Colts. Carter dominated touches in Week 5. Emari Demercado, Ollie Gordon II, Sean Tucker. These players might be drop candidates, especially after Demercado's fumble and Gordon's limited touches. Kenneth Gainwell. With Jalen Warren's injury, Gainwell could see more work. He's a must-start if Warren is out again. Kimani Vidal and Hassan Haskins. With Omarion Hampton on injured reserve, this tandem could be messy but intriguing. Vidal might have the edge. Kendre Miller. For the first time this season, Miller handled more carries than Alvin Kamara. He's a stash for now, but could be a lottery ticket if Kamara misses time. Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Tyjae Spears. Both are good running backs to stash on your bench, with Tracy close to a return and Spears shaking off rust. Rico Dowdle. Dowdle dominated against the Dolphins, and with Chuba Hubbard out, he's now number 2 on the Panthers' depth chart. Jalen Coker. Coker is worth adding, especially if he returns to practice and plays in Week 6 against Miami. Wide receivers Kendrick Bourne. A breakout game against the Rams makes Bourne a must-add, especially if Ricky Pearsall and/or Jauan Jennings remain out. Jalen Coker. Expected to return to practice, Coker could be a starting option in 3 receiver leagues right away. Trey Tucker. With Brock Bowers out, Tucker has seen increased targets. He has the potential to be a number 3 fantasy receiver if Bowers remains sidelined. Rashid Shaheed. Finally breaking out with a big play, Shaheed is a boomer bust number 3 fantasy receiver heading into Week 6. Jalen Flournoy. A surprise performer in Week 5. Flournoy could emerge as the number 1, 3 receiver for the Cowboys if CeeDee Lamb and Kevontae Turpin remain out. David Bond. With Cedric Tillman out, Bond has seen increased targets. He's worth adding in deeper leagues. Darnell Mooney. Expected to play in Week 6 after an injury-plagued start to the season. Mooney is worth stashing on your bench. Alec Pierce. With Lamar Jackson out, Pierce is a drop candidate, but he could be a valuable addition if Jackson returns. Rashad Bateman. Combined for limited production in his last 2 games, Bateman is a drop candidate for now. Wan'Dale Robinson. With Darius Slayton out, Robinson could be the best receiver for the Giants moving forward. Cooper Kupp. Still worth stashing in all PPR leagues. Kupp had a quieter Week 5. Matthew Golden. With 9 catches in his last 2 games. Golden could emerge as a number 3 fantasy receiver. Jauan Jennings. Not guaranteed to play in Week 6. Jennings is worth stashing if he returns to health. Romeo Doubs. After a big game in Week 4, Doubs should be added in all leagues. Calvin Ridley. Finally showing some promise. Ridley is worth adding in all leagues where available. Tight ends David Njoku. A big game against Minnesota makes Njoku a must-add heading into Week 6. Kyle Pitts went into his bye on a high note and should benefit if Darnell Mooney is out. TJ Hawkinson. Not worth holding during his bye. Hawkinson's production has been inconsistent. Juwan Johnson. Faded in the last 2 games. Johnson is not worth rostering in most 10-team leagues. Isaiah Likely. With Lamar Jackson out, Likely is a top candidate. Mason Taylor. On fire heading into Week 6, Taylor is worth adding in all leagues. Strange Johnson. With at least 10.5 PPR points in his last 2 games, Johnson is a must-add. A.J. Barner scored 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. Barner is worth adding to find out if it continues. Jake Tonjes, a short-term add with George Kittle expected back in Week 7. Tonjes could be a prominent part of the 49ers offense if receivers remain out. David Fannin, productive in Week 5, Fannin is worth adding in deeper leagues, even when David Njoku is healthy. Austin Eckler. With 13 targets in his last 2 games, Eckler is worth adding, especially with favorable matchups ahead. Engram. With increased targets, Engram could start getting more involved for the Broncos. Colston Loveland. Had a slow start but has the potential to be a starting fantasy option. Stash him on your bench for now. Michael Mayer. Could be a borderline starter if he returns before Brock Bowers. Keep an eye on his health. DST and kicker streamers. Patriots, Raiders, and Titans are the DST streamers to consider, while Brandon McManus, Jason Myers, and Chris Boswell are the kicker streamers for Week 6. As we navigate the waiver wire, remember that every player has the potential to be a game changer. Stay tuned and good luck with your Week 6 matchups.